What's up, everybody? Welcome to my channel. If you are new here, welcome back to my returning subbies. Okay, my fellow fairies, my fellow spiritual gangsters, who are just people who take very good care of what God has given us via the divine feminine spirit. Okay, my name is indeed Siani, and this is indeed my world as much as it is yours. Okay, I'm an artist and healer, and yeah, all my booking information is down below. So let's get into this video. My spiritual awakening. It was rough. It was rough. And there was multiple levels. Okay, multiple levels. Disclaimer, I'm not going to be telling you what to believe. Everyone has free will, and I respect everyone's, beliefs. I'm here to tell my story and to put out facts that are historical facts, okay, that are real things that really occurred, and you could do what you want with that information, okay? So, background on me. I grew up in the Catholic Church. My mom was a minister. She had her own ministry, okay? And my family was still heavily involved in the church. My grandma, she would set the altar in the Catholic Church. She was in charge of like ironing the cloth, that's really, really big. And I just have my family's like very, very, very into their faith, which is beautiful. Okay, I love that, right? Period. Love, period. Now, the thing is when we get into I'm gonna get at the end, I'm gonna get into more historical things. I'm telling my story first because I think that is the best way to present this information. So, like I said, grew up in the church, Catholic church, and when I was younger, as young as I could remember, I always knew that like this isn't what God wants. No, funny. I was just like when I would go to church, I'm like, this is supposed to be God's place. Like all of the strictness of the kneeling and having to stand up and do all this, I'm like, I don't know, the God I know, the happiness I feel inside of me doesn't line up to this. This is like, it's giving depression, okay? It's giving oppression, okay? It's giving all the Eshins, okay? And, just the colors, the dreariness, I just felt it. And I didn't know at the time, but I'm psychic, okay? I always knew that I was spiritually inclined, but I didn't know to what degree. I thought, honestly, at one point, I thought something was wrong with me. I thought I was going crazy. But anywho, I've had many spiritual encounters as a child, as a teenager, knowing things before it happens, deja vu, just feeling very like intuitive feelings, knowing things, and then finding out that they're true and things like that. I'm like, that's strange. Having dreams and then it'll happen. And I would have like visions, I have very vivid imagination. So I never really aligned myself with the church, but I always believed in God and Jesus, in love. And I grew up in a hardcore Catholic family. I'm talking about like, you ever seen those videos of people getting prayed over and like they're having like, they're spazzing out because demons are being casted out of them? Like I used to go to, they're called retreats, right? To these retreats with my family at a young age, seeing that, seeing demons being casted out, people falling in the spirit, all this like kind of like extreme stuff for like a child to be seeing without having the proper context. I mean, the context that they gave was just that, they had demons in them and that the power of the Holy Spirit was casting them out, which definitely is true. But it was more in like a fear mongering way. And whatever, I grew up around seeing that. And I always knew there was power in the name of Yeshua. But I still wasn't like, I didn't trust it. Okay. I didn't trust it. And most people who are critical thinkers, I noticed, don't trust the church. Okay. Because when you do your research, you see the truth, which I will get into later. Anywho, so I'm a teenager and, I'm open to spirituality, like, but I never took anything too serious. Like, I never took astrology too serious, never dared to look into tarot because I was told that that's witchcraft. And basically, witchcraft in the Christian community is just demon work. Okay. so, but I was open into, like, I believed in astrology. One thing about it, I believed in astrology because how you gonna say that's not real and that's demonic? That's not demonic. That's nature. That is the wisdom and the divine organization and creation of the universe, of the Most High. Okay. So they could never get me with that. Okay. They could never get me with that. I always knew that astrology was real. Okay. Then, I'm growing up. I went through many things in life, depression, anxiety, and I found myself in a place where I was being validated by my work, like what I do or like who I am in society, external things, and I felt very empty. And 2020 happened, the pandemic, Black Lives Matter, and like it was just shattering. Like I felt like, because I've always been humanitarian led, I always really had this love, for peace, for joy, for truth. And like set a fire in me, but also like cracked me in a way. And I was like, okay, the only truth that I know to be 100% is Yeshua, Jesus. So I got really, really deep in my faith to find some type of like stability in those hard times. And I got very devoted. Also, I went through a heartbreak too. I got super devoted to my faith and almost like a nun. I'm not even gonna lie. It was getting real serious. So anyway, there were a lot of things that didn't line up. Okay. Like I didn't like the fact that, for instance, the Catholic Church, right? The Catholic Church is the first official church. Okay. When really what had happened was Christ, when he died, there were the early Christians. They were being persecuted for being a Christian. They were being persecuted. Then the Romans, who were actually the ones who killed Christ, okay, ended up saying, hey, we're going to be the official church of Christ, so that they can have a sense of control over the movement. You feel me? So they used religion and the government together to control the masses. And, then the church started to split. And then that's when the Protestant, which is like Baptist and all those people, they came out of Catholicism. So Catholicism is like the most ancient of the Christian faith, the faith that follows Christ. And yeah, so what really threw me off was the fact that they would say that like if you go to a different church, like if you're not Catholic, you're not going to heaven. That's what they would say. So you can be a Christ follower and be Protestant, like you could be, which is Protestant just means you're not Catholic. So you could be Baptist or whatever. And if you're that, then you're not going to heaven. I was like, what? That doesn't even sound like the voice of God. Like, I'm sorry, I don't believe that. So even when I was religious, I would still go to different churches. They didn't have to be Catholic, and I loved it. I still do. I would still love it. I still love going to church. I still love my Christian peoples. Okay, because I still love Christ. But the difference is I'm not controlled by religion. Okay. And the funny thing is that Christ exposed the corruption of his religion. That's what he did. Okay? And they persecuted him. Okay? So that just goes to show that if you're a true Christian, you need to be able to hold these people accountable. Like, it's not adding up. It's not adding up. All right. Also, there's a lot of like lost texts of Jesus. So you could look into that. Okay, there's a lot, and I want to start talking to other people that talk about all these things so we can like put it out there, um because it's important for people to know. Okay, but the most important thing is to live by example. Like we could tell people, this that and the third, but it's really about living as an example. But if you do your own research, you will find out. You will find out. So anywho, I ended up crashing, and this is where my real spiritual awakening happened. Um there was so many things in my life that didn't make sense. The way the church was teaching the gospel, especially in the Catholic Church, is very grim. It's very poverty. Like it gives impoverished. Energy wise, you feel me? Energy wise, it gives. So I would overgive. It makes you feel like not for nothing, but, and I don't even mean this in a derogatory way, but it's like you're their bitch, okay? And I was basically everybody's bitch. Like I had no boundaries, no self-defense, because that's how they make Christianity seem like, but that's so that you can be easily manipulated. So I was at a point in my life where I was giving, giving, giving to everybody else and not myself. And I broke down and I said, you know what? I'm about to get away and figure this shit out. And I'm not gonna lie, I was at a point where I was suicidal. How can you be in church and be suicidal? That's how I knew some shit was wrong. So I was like, not that I wanted to actually die, but I'm not gonna lie, I did. Like I was like, I wouldn't mind if I accidentally get wiped out or something like that. That's not good, okay? I love life. I have so many things that I want to do, okay? And that I am gonna do. But the way that I was being played with in the church, because they make you fear everything. They make you fear yourself, okay? And it's just the way the dogma is set up. The way they it's not, because it's not the truth. That's what it is. It's not the truth. Anywho, so I ended up watching videos about people who died and came back to life because I was curious. So they were talking about so many like universal, like it was way past religion. Like it was so surpassed religion. Like they were talking about like how you choose to come into this life and how there's multiple lifetimes and all this different stuff. And everybody was saying it. People who truly died and came back to life, like, and came out of their body and saw the thing, like, because when you come out your body, they say that you could see the room that you're in and everything when you're dead. Like they were flatlined and they literally died, came back to life, and all of these people were saying the same stories. So I was like, like, that cracked me open. And then there was a tarot reading that came up on my For You page. And I never watched tarot. I never even really understood tarot. I didn't even, like I said, I was told that that was evil. So I ended up watching it, got red down to the socks, started crying, and I was like, whoa. And boom. I mean, so many things happen. So many things happen. And yeah, but that's pretty much the explanation of my spiritual awakening. Now I'm gonna get into more so of like the part where I talk about, what was before the Abrahamic faith. The Abrahamic faith is the patriarchy. Okay, the patriarch. So first it was with Jews, who God spoke to Abraham, right, and created Judaism. Then it went to Christianity, and then Muslim. Muslim is the newest faith, not Christianity, but they still believe in Abraham. It's considered Abrahamic faith. Before these three huge religions, who, mind you, only cause a lot of war, suppression, and oppression in the world, there was the matriarchy, which is our connection to nature, the stars, herbs, the planet. That is the matriarchy. Okay? Which is a feminine thing. Okay? Feminine energy. And there is a belief that, which I understand, that the creator is a woman. And that, I know a lot, that's gonna trigger a lot of people who, that's like another level. That's like flat earth. You get me? That's like dimensions, there's levels to it. So if you're new to the spirit, to questioning, with everything happening in the news with Israel, Trump, and Epstein, and you're one of these people who are starting to question, the origins of your faith and why you believe what you believe and the corruption, then this is the video for you, okay? I have successfully found truth and solidarity within my being through shamanism, energy, herbs, the earth, learning about my body, learning how, connecting with my ancestors in spirituality through the earth. Why wouldn't the earth be connected to me? Why wouldn't the earth send me messages? You know what I mean? Why wouldn't I be able to use the earth to manifest? It was a disconnect that had occurred in history, okay? And we are in the times of the divine feminine rising, okay? We are also in the age of the Aquarius, okay? The age of the Aquarius is going to last about 2,000 years. So when Christ came, that was the age of the Pisces, okay? Pisces is all about faith, illusions, spirituality, all that like mystical stuff. That was for 2,000 years. Now we just entered a new 2,000 years era, the age of Aquarius, which is about humanitarianism, being unique, knowledge, and justice. Like I said, humanitarianism. So that's what we're heading into, okay? So some people don't know this, but Judaism, big ball buster, okay? Ball buster over here. The ancient origins of Judaism is Kabbalah. Now, if you study Kabbalah, this is the blueprint of the universe, and it is what in magic and in all like Hinduism and those types of faiths that are connected to earth, they all understand Kabbalah. Okay, so really they're hiding the truth because the origins of Judaism is magic. Okay, just search it up. Kabbalah. Okay, it talks about dimensions. It talks about the laws of the universe, geometric science, and all this stuff. Okay, so just search it up. It's very simple. It's very simple. But if this is only for those who are feeling led to be awakened, okay? I'm not here, you feel me? I'm just here to tell my story. How I almost died losing myself, almost lost my mind because they were trying to tell me that they were like, it felt like my soul was being ripped out of my body because the religion that I was engulfed in was so disconnected. I don't know how to explain it. So disconnected. It's so disconnected. It's like you get there, you get the Holy Spirit, you feel the love, and then what? There's nothing else because they don't teach you the lifestyle habits. Okay? And even if they did, it's teaching hate towards people who are LGBTQ. Meanwhile, there's seahorses. The male seahorse is the one who gets pregnant and gives birth. Meanwhile, there's hermaphrodites who literally have both genitals. So how are you saying that these people are going to go to hell? How are you going to, what you going to say to a hermaphrodite? They literally have both genitals. They could like whoever they want. How are you going to tell them they're going to go to hell when God made them that way? I'm just saying, you feel me? I'm just saying, teaching hate, preaching hate, like that's none of your business. First of all, to tell somebody that they're going to go to hell. You feel me? You don't know their personal relationship with God. You don't know their. Now, I understand if they committed a crime, a hate crime. Yes, you gotta have, you gotta justice, we gotta have jails, you feel me? But we're gonna try and rehabilitate you. You feel me? But saying that somebody has no hope, like, who are you? You feel me? Like, that just never sat right. But anyway, and then also condemning the feminine body, saying that my body is a sin. No, my body is beautiful and it used to be worshipped, okay? Because women are the epitome of beauty. Beauty. So are men, but women, see, back in the day, before the patriarchy, women were revered. They were the connection to God, to source, and we still are, okay? We still are. That's why we're more in tune with spirituality. That's why if you look in churches, there's mostly women, okay? Anywho, we're connected to the moon. We have cycles like the moon, okay? We are more connected to nature than men, okay? That's just the way it is, okay? And so the church didn't really like that, that we're natural psychics. We're natural, we're natural healers. We're natural channels to the divine. And our bodies are powerful, okay? A beautiful woman can literally do anything she wants in the world, can have anything she wants in the world, could say anything she wants in the world, okay, for the most part, and people will follow, right? And the naked body of a woman is healing. It's healing to look at. It's literally healing to look at. So, making us, even men, you feel me, making them feel ashamed of being attracted. Like, what is that? What is that? You feel me? What is that? Just like, I just don't like that. I don't like it. It doesn't sit right it doesn't sit right. And when something doesn't sit right, I don't take it lightly anymore. Because there was a time in my life when I was religious and I was literally dealing with so much power struggle within my internal body, because it's like my spirit was telling me one thing, but everybody was telling me something else. And then I'm like a young adult still learning how to be my own person and have my own opinions and stuff like that. And dealing with, when I was a kid, I was always getting in trouble and stuff because I like to have fun. There wasn't even nothing too bad. I just like to have fun. So I was dealing with this also internally, like feeling like I'm a bad person, like something is wrong with me. Also, I'm creative, I'm different, I don't fit in with everybody. So also that, that had me chained to sticking to religion and being like, oh, through this I'll be better, or I'll feel better. No, that shit almost took me out. So I liberated myself, and I literally, life, I mean, I could cry right now. The way that I literally feel so free and so true to myself and so in tune with God like never before. And people would look at me right now at this point in my life as I'm recording this and be like, oh, if you're so in tune with God, why your life looks like the way it is? Because it seems like everything's falling apart. Baby, let me clock it for you, okay? When you're in tune with God, that does not mean that everything's gonna go perfect, okay? You still gotta learn things, and there's a story unfolding, but trust and believe the promise is still there, okay? And you feel me? The promise is there, okay? The promise is there. It's gold, okay? It's you feel me? It's built under pressure. And that's why a lot of people don't want to go down the spiritual route, because if they face the truth that's in the mirror, it's going to shake some shit up. Okay. I don't care. Let the shit get shaken up. I'd rather be shaken up so I live an authentic life than live an inauthentic life without risk and become a empty vessel. Okay. Like, I'm not doing that. Not doing it. So thankfully, my critical thinking skills saved me from living a life of depression, anxiety, and suicide. I feel so free now. I'm so free. I never loved life so much. Like, I feel like it's like I'm a child. I feel like they manipulated what Christ was teaching. Obviously, he was saying that something was corrupt. And then the ones who killed him want to take his faith. Of course, they're going to manipulate it. You feel me? Of course, they're not going to teach what he really taught. So all I know is I still love Christ. I believe in Christ, but I do not believe in the Christ that the church teaches. I do not. Okay? I don't. Because they make him seem like he was just this super soft person who had no boundaries, when he was the definition of boundaries, and he was the definition of truth and healing and love for everybody. Okay. So if you're MAGA, if you talking about that you're Christian nationalist, then maybe you should take a good look. Okay. Maybe you should take a good look at the real Jesus, which they, allowed at least a glimpse still left in the Bible. Okay. But like I mentioned, there's a lot of information that you have to go out and seek yourself. Okay. I would love to talk to more people who speak about these topics, but I will give you some resources. Okay. So if you're interested in more information like this, go to Gaia, GAIA.com. Even the History Channel now talks about stuff like this. It's just critical thinking. You feel me? It's critical thinking. It's really just critical thinking. And if you don't know what that means, that basically means like not taking something at face value. Okay? Like you gotta like use your brain. Feel me? Like, not everything that's handed to you is good for us. Okay? So I'm making this video because hopefully it will save somebody's life who's in a position like that I was in, where I literally was so depressed, okay, wanting to be this good Christian, thinking I was doing the right thing, when really I was living a deprived life. I was very deprived, very uneducated, very judgmental, okay? Because they teach judgment, not liberation. And I'm not saying there's good Christians out there, but at the end of the day, you're telling people that if they like the same sex, that they're going to hell. If they are in tune with nature and their literal gifts, like God gave me the gifts to see ghosts, to predict the future. You're telling me that's not me being a prophet? You telling me that I'm evil when I have this spiritual? No, that's not it. Okay. They say in the church that you're a prophet when it's really you're a psychic. Okay. But they can't take the prophet out of the church. So they say that they can't take the psychic out of, what it is. So they say it's a prophet. You know what I mean? So call me what you want, prophet, psychic, whatever. But I know what I know. And what I know is that the Holy Spirit is felt everywhere. Okay? Everything exists. Okay? What happened to wonder, magic? Okay? What happened to that? Religion took it and crushed our dreams. Okay? Crushed them. Okay? If you want to dress like that, dress like that. If you want to love that person, love that person. It don't matter how old they are, young they are, whatever. I mean, there's obviously consent and things of that nature, of course. But I'm saying, why so much judgment? Why so much regulation? And the funny thing is that in spirituality, outside of Christianity, the devil is depicted as obsession and control. Isn't that what we see with religion in today's day and age? We see with Judaism, they got to be doing all this stuff. They all got to dress the same. If they're having sex, I think they can't even correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure they have to have a sheet between them or something like that. They can't sleep in the same bed. This is if you're the most dedicated, hardcore Jewish people. Okay. The women gotta be, covered, shave their hair and not shave their head, but they gotta wear a wig, which I don't understand that part, but it's not their own hair. They can't just be free in their own hair. And then in Muslims, covering the women up. When it's crazy because in the Middle Eastern region, y'all, the women are drop dead gorgeous. And they were known for being drop dead gorgeous. The belly dancers, you feel me? The belly dancers. That's the ancient times when women were revered for their beauty and seen as a channel to the divine. Okay? So I'm here to spread this message because I really, like I said, hope that this can save somebody's life out there who's, surrounded by people, because it's in our own family too, people who will be judge you hardcore and make you, feel like you can't live your life. And then they blame it on religion, Let's say you got piercings, you got tattoos. Oh, now you're going to hell. Huh? So let's get back to the indigenous times, okay? Before the patriarchy. Indigenous times, okay? Where we were connected to nature. We were connected to our ancestors. We were connected to our soul. And it's happening, okay? It's definitely happening. It's definitely happening. I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it happen. Especially with Gen Z, a lot of information out there. We grew up on information. And I think the only thing that's tearing us apart is the fear of making that decision. Oh, damn, if I get tattoos, if I get piercings, if I live the life I want to live, am I going to go to hell? you're living in a prison, right? So it's about taking that risk to live the life that you fully want. Of course, without harming other people. Okay? The times that we're living in are forcing people to wake up because, for instance, our leaders in America who lead basically the whole world, are criminals, saying that they are these good Christians. So it's forcing us to think about our faith, right? And then they're connected with Epstein, connected to Israel. So we got to take a look, right? We got to take a look. What's up with Israel? You start taking a look, you realize that the origins of Israel is magic, but they want to hide it and then tell everybody else that it's demonic. There's a lot of other stuff that I know that I'm missing, because I'll see like other people talk about certain things and it's just about piecing it all together. So I know if you're woke, you please comment down below and start spitting facts. Like something about, like, I heard like the creation of Israel was all a plan. Like this was all planned out. Like this is all planned out. And something about like these elite families, like the Rothschilds, you feel me? All this information. Let's talk about it. If you're a flat earther, okay, let's talk about it. If you've seen aliens, let's talk about it. Like all this stuff, let's talk about it down below, okay? I love y'all so much, my spiritual gangsters, my fellow fairies, okay? Hashtag fairy gang. We in this, okay? We in this to win this, okay? We in this to win this. And the thing is, it's already won. It's already won. It's already won, because the majority of the world just wants peace. The majority of the world just wants to feed their families, laugh, have a good time, buy what they want, dress how they want, love who they want. That's what the majority of the world wants. We want heaven on earth. We want our dreams, the good frequency, to drop down and manifest into reality. And the thing is, it's already happening. We're seeing the beginnings of the transition into the age of Aquarius, where we are going to be unique. We are going to be given the information that we need to manifest the life that we really want. We're not going to be in chains anymore. And that's why all of this is happening. All of this is happening to wake us up. We have to wake up. If this didn't happen, we wouldn't face the truths that we need to face. Okay? And the interesting thing is now the majority of the world, even if you're in a third world country, you have a phone. A lot of these people got phones, so they could see what's going on. And they can see that, no, not all people who live in America have the same ideals as the people who are running America. Greedy, racist, no. We're fighting the battle and they're oppressing us too. You know what I mean? So we're all in this together, and it's happening. So just have hope, have faith, believe in yourself. You and God are one, okay? And if you trust yourself, you trust God, okay? Never rely on anything outside of you to give you peace, whether it be a religion, whether it be a spiritual practice, a ritual, whatever you do, it doesn't even matter. You could be a shaman, a witch, or whatever, and you're doing a ritual. You rely too much on what you do and not the source. You're that's like breaking number one spiritual law. Okay, so trust yourself, live freely, don't care, as long as you're not hurting other people. Live your best life, spread love, and speak up for injustices. Bye.